And welcome to Geekdom Movie Talk, where I sit down with a guest and we talk about all things geeky movies. And for the first time since maybe 1998, we're actually going to get two Godzilla continuity storylines or movies or series at the same time. And it's kind of a mind fuck for me because I remember being a little kid. I remember watching Godzilla as a kid, watching kaiju movies, watching Ultraman, watching Power Rangers, falling in love with giant monsters, and now giant monsters are making a comeback in a big way. So I want to talk about Godzilla, both the sequel coming out from Legendary Pictures in America, as well as at the same time, we've got Godzilla Resurgence coming out in Japan, otherwise known as Shin Gojira, which is directed by Hideaki Anno, and we're going to talk about it. But joining me to talk about this, a Godzilla historian in his own right, but those of you who have been following me for a long time, you would know him from something else, from the Next Dimension Dragon Ball podcast, or Next Dimension Dragon Ball Z podcast, whatever you want to call it. Jesse!
What is up, man?
Nothing, man. We're talking Godzilla.
I love it.
I remember you mentioned Godzilla on one of the podcasts you did with Donovan, and that's where this whole thing started. I was like, okay, he's a fan of Godzilla. I might be able to get him on for this. He might be the perfect person.
Yeah, it's my other big Japanese fandom, Godzilla. Even predating Dragon Ball. Like as Donovan had Dragon Ball, I had Godzilla. I grew up with it. This was my thing.
You grew up with Godzilla, and I did too, to an extent. Are you a collector? Do you have all the films? Like, what's your just out of curiosity, what is your earliest Godzilla memory? Like, when was the first time you saw Godzilla?
I can pinpoint the exact time I first saw a Godzilla film.
Yeah.
I don't know what age I was, but I remember walking into this old VHS video store we had called Walt's Video, and they had these standees of specific aisles. You had your action, you had your horror films.
Did they have the little curtain in the back for the adult movies?
Oh, they did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, they had those, and they had that's where the horror films were. So you go back behind the curtain, and you go left for the horror films. You go right for the more adult-oriented films. Mm. Needless to say, I took the wrong turn quite a few times.
For scientific purposes.
Oh yes, clearly.
All right.
But to this day, I can tell you a bunch of like covers to horror movies that I've never seen, just because I was looking over them. But
kids nowadays don't know the magic of going to a video store and looking at the covers and picking the movie out based on the cool covers.
Dude, and I swear to you, VHS artwork is a lot better than DVD and Blu-ray artwork.
I miss it, bro. Like Friday the 13th Part 2, that silhouette of him holding the knife. Classic, dude. Like, all right, go ahead.
But yeah, so I walk in this video store, and they have literally a maybe 2-foot section of sci-fi films. And this is also the first time I saw a Star Wars film, because my parents, this was like an amazing event. They let me rent 2 movies that week. So my mom was like, "Oh, you like monster movies? You like all these other films? Here, go look at these." And I was like, "Well, this has a big lizard on it." So I picked up Godzilla versus the Astro Monster.
Wow.
Which is Godzilla versus Monster Zero in the U.S., which is essentially the sequel to Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, or King Ghidorah. I rented that, and I think I rented The Empire Strikes Back before Star Wars.
Yeah, I saw them in weird order, too.
Yeah, because it didn't say Star Wars 2. It just said The Empire Strikes Back.
You're just supposed to know.
Yeah. And my mom wasn't a sci-fi fan. She was like, "Oh, you might like this one. It's got a laser sword. Sweet."
Yeah.
So I rented those 2 movies, and ever since then, both those fandoms have been with me ever since. I think they had maybe 7 Godzilla films from the Showa series. I rented all 7 of those multiple times. And then I saw some additional films on TNT's Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs.
Oh, I love that. That's where I first saw Motel Hell, bro.
Oh, dude. Yo, thank you, because I can remember his commentary on Motel Hell. Because he used to have, he used to count how many boobs were shown in the movie.
That's right,
And
dude.
I mean, I still do that. I don't know about you, but I still do that.
Did you ever play Manhunt on PS1 or yeah, PS2?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you were the guy in the hockey mask, and you had to, or you had the guy in the hockey mask was in there, and you had to kill people.
Yeah, and the final boss is Pigsley, which is a guy with a pig helmet wearing it with a chainsaw. They totally
Yep,
stole that from Motel Hell.
yep.
When you play these Rockstar games, you pick up on a lot of little movie references. Like they took
Oh,
stuff like
yeah. They have tons of pop culture references in
even
there.
some obscure stuff. So about Godzilla. Now, let's flash forward to nowadays. Um, Your okay, we got two movies coming out. Let's talk about them first. All right, first the Japanese one. Well, actually, no. Let's fuck that. Let's talk about the English, the American one. We've got Godzilla 2014 came out, a reboot. They promised us it would not be like the Matthew Broderick movie. It was directed by Gareth Edwards, who's also going to be doing Star Wars Rogue One, and it came out, did pretty well. They revealed that they got the rights to Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, and King Kong too. So there's going to be like a cinematic universe, because everybody's doing it now, to build up a Godzilla film. Now, in
To be
Europe,
fair, they did it originally in the '60s.
yes, they did, but and now everyone's doing it.
It's the big thing now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't blame them if there's precedence for it and it's making money. Why not? Because if you tell me, hey, King Kong versus Godzilla's coming out, my ass is going to be in that seat.
Especially if it's built up right, because it already happened once, but now we're going to see it with modern effects. So hopefully it'll be done right. Now, 2014 Godzilla comes out from Legendary Pictures. That's a very polarizing movie, bro. Did you like that movie? Because I loved it the first time I saw it, but it doesn't age very well in my opinion.
See, I really loved it too. And I think you kind of have to view it under a different spectrum. Like if you're like a diehard Godzilla fan and you go in it wanting to see a movie where he's in it every 5 minutes, it's definitely not the film for you.
That's right.
But I think if you treat Godzilla as a menace and as a like a horror icon, the less is better. That kind of approach goes into it, and I think it builds up to when he really is on screen. It crescendos, and it makes his appearance that much better. Like that whole last fight scene is amazing.
Oh, dude.
It's one of the best Godzilla fights I've seen in the 29 movies he's made. Obviously, it has the best effect because it had the biggest budget, and
Of
it's
course.
a Hollywood studio as opposed to Toho or opposed to a smaller studio.
And I'll tell you one thing, man. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen that Godzilla. At the end, when he grabs that Muto bitch and he fucking does the fire breath down her fucking throat, bro. I was fucking, dude. I was throwing popcorn, bro. I was like, he grabs that bitch, bro, by the neck. He's like, no, bitch. Wow, and just fucking sends her to hell, bro. That was they sold me with that one. I actually,
Like, because the whole movie, like you tell me they're making an American Godzilla movie, and I'm like, oh god,
Matthew Broderick
yeah,
memories.
yeah, you've got bad vibes coming in.
You know,
But
it's funny because that movie isn't even that terrible if you take out the Godzilla part.
no, if you say, hey, this is a random, Roland Emmerich monster movie, it's a good movie, it's entertaining,
Yeah.
but you put the stigma of Godzilla on it, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I agree. Now, in your opinion, all right, coming up soon, we're going to have a sequel to this film. First, we're going to get King Kong, Skull Island, which I am probably going to check out. I wasn't too big on the Peter Jackson King Kong. I thought it was good, but it's a little bit too long because
Oh yeah,
Peter, dude, he loves to do 5-hour movies.
well, especially, I mean, with Lord of the Rings, he kind of got carte blanche to do whatever he wants, and if they're gonna say, yeah, you can do a 3 hour movie, okay, no one's gonna say no.
Yeah, but not every movie should be 3 hours.
Oh
You
no,
know what I
exactly.
mean?
Like he had no one to rein him in and say, you know what, maybe you trim this a little bit. King Kong doesn't need to be a 3 hour movie.
Agreed. And I think this new one will probably be a lot better. It is going to be, from what we understand, a reboot of the whole King Kong story. So it's not going to be mixed with any of the other movies. Now, we know that apparently it's rumored that Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah are going to be starring in the next Godzilla movie. They're going to be doing I remember I saw an interview where Gareth Edwards said it's going to be an all monsters attack type movie where it's going to be like a 4-way rumble. I don't know about you, bro, but I'm pretty excited about that. What do you think?
Oh, that sounds amazing because I know Gareth Edwards has said that Destroy All Monsters is like his personal favorite Godzilla movie. And I don't know if you've seen that movie, but that's like the battle royal of Godzilla movies. Like it's got literally every monster pretty much that Toho owned the rights to in that movie.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous fun, but and if they want to go for like an approach to that, like I'm gonna be all for it because yeah, building off of Godzilla 2014, you had a little bit of Godzilla. If you could add a little more to it for the next movie, and then add more monsters to it, because yeah, the first film didn't have a lot of Godzilla, but it had a lot of Muto in it, and
Yes.
so it had a lot of monster action. Like if you can have that much Rodan in it or that much Mothra and King Ghidorah, oh, that's gonna be amazing. Like a full big ass 4-way brawl between all these kaiju destroying cities. That's gonna be epic as shit.
Yeah, I think what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to spend the first, because it's a modern movie, American studios. They're probably going to spend the first half of the movie building up Mothra, Rodan, the Ghidorah, and then we're going to get the big rumble in the second half. Because Mothra has like a long backstory. I don't know which King Ghidorah they're going to use. 'Cause there's like 4 or 5 different origins there.
Well, like well, actually, yeah, both Mothra and Rodan are original characters predating their
They're Godzilla. Yeah, they had their own
yeah,
series.
yeah. They're,
Absolutely.
they're not originally Godzilla characters.
And
They
that's
just
what I wonder. Like, are they going to talk about that? Like, are they going to give us a new origins? What I'm saying.
yeah, because the 2014 film, you had the whole Monarch Corporation. Like they implied that the Godzilla and Muto weren't the first occurrences of kaiju in the world. So you could have a whole history and pay homage to the history of Rodan, to Mothra in that film, and I would love that. Like, I'm sure you're gonna get some scenes of them just destroying shit on their own before the big fight happens, or before they meet other the other monsters, because you kind of got to build them up on their own.
Let me ask you about that. Do you think that having all three come into one movie is too much? Do you think it would have been a better strategy to have them come into individual movies and then do an all monsters attack type thing? Or do you think that it's better to do it this way? Because I almost feel like what you said, one of the big criticisms of the 2014 film is that there's not enough Godzilla, and I feel like in this movie they're going to try and make up for it by giving you like all these monsters. What do you
Well,
think?
I think at this point the audience has been introduced to the idea of a monsters with Godzilla and Muto. You've been introduced to Godzilla himself. At the end of the movie, he got the monarch, the moniker King of the Monsters. Like, so you're behind the idea of him being this badass monster, and
Yeah.
you're behind the idea of other monsters existing. And most of your general audience knows Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah. Like those are the biggest monsters. Those are also the most popular in the Western audiences, short of like Mecha Godzilla.
I was
So
going to ask you about him here too, but go ahead.
so yeah, like those are the most famous, and it's not that hard to sell to say, hey, this is a giant pterodactyl. This is a giant moth. Those are kind of easy concepts. King Ghidorah is the biggest one that's like, whoa, he's a three-headed dragon who doesn't have any arms. It's kind of weird.
He's a
But
badass though, man.
yeah, like so I think you don't have to establish Rodan that much. You don't have to establish Mothra that much.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering what you felt about that. So,
So yeah,
yeah,
honestly, I'm fine with them all appearing. Like, I mean, in the wake of films like Avengers and films that have introduced a lot of characters that shouldn't work, like I
mm,
think it could be done well and done like with respect to the characters without just being like, okay, here's Rodan, bam, the movie's over. What just happened? Like,
how do you feel about Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla being remade once again, but this time by Legendary Pictures? I think if these movies are successful, I could totally see them doing a Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla American film, which would be trippy as hell because it's gonna have the American special effects
oh yeah, after
and
seeing
the
Pacific
production.
Rim, I would absolutely love to see a Mecha Godzilla uh, movie.
I want to see Pacific Rim versus Godzilla.
Oh yeah, and Guillermo del Toro was like completely down with that because Pacific Rim and 2014 Godzilla came out around the same time, and he even said like, "Oh, if we could make that work, because they're both released by the same company, like if we could make that work, I'd be down for it." Like that would blow my mind because I love Pacific Rim, and I'm so glad that we're actually getting a sequel to it.
Yeah, and well, is that actually happening? Because Guillermo del Toro starts shit and never finishes it, bro.
Well, oh yeah, well he's not directing it.
Oh, he's not. I didn't know that.
He's writing it and producing it, but another director is directing the film.
Well, that's good. It's gonna take some stress off of his.
Exactly, because that man is so overworked. Like,
Yeah, this guy, yeah, he's always got his fingers in every pot. So let's talk about Godzilla Resurgence. Now, because of the popularity of the American legendary Godzilla movie, Hideaki Anno is going to be doing another Godzilla reboot in Japan, coming actually, from what I understand, actually this summer. We're going to
Yeah,
be getting this movie in July. And from what I understand, the trailer is out. Have you seen? I mean, I saw the trailer. Have you seen the trailer, first of all?
yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah. I've watched it a couple times.
He looks downright incredibly badass.
Well,
Like,
he looks creepy and scary. Like legitimately, the design of him, like because you can say what you want about the actual effects on how he's portrayed, because yeah, it's pseudomation, but still the actual design of the character, he he doesn't look heroic. He doesn't look action hero. He looks like a creepy ass monster.
he's
And
glowing in red, kind of like he did in the Destroyer movie.
yep,
Yeah, like maybe he's sick in this one. And we, as far as we know, right, there's no other monsters confirmed for this film yet. They're keeping this a big secret.
yeah, yeah. They haven't confirmed anything else. One of the rumors I've heard is that he's supposedly going to like the Resurgence subtitle is supposedly he's supposed to be getting more and more power in the film. So at the end of the movie, he's gonna take a different form than he does at the beginning of the film because. Like you said, he's glowing red. He looks like nuclear. He's got very, very like degenerated arms that look almost T Rex like. So like later on in the film, he's going to take a stronger looking form.
That's going to be interesting because then they can sell more toys, obviously.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
dude. If Godzilla has a final form, I'm gonna geek out all over the place.
yeah, it's going to be at every convention you could even imagine.
Exactly.
It's going to be interesting because Hideaki Anno's famous for Evangelion, and Evangelion is one of the most controversial anime ever, and one of the most talked about, both in good and bad aspects. It's going to be interesting to see what he brings to the franchise. My thing is this, with this Godzilla Resurgence film, is this? Do we know for a fact? Is this going to be a legitimate reboot, or is it going to be a sequel to the original Gojira? Because every time that they do a Godzilla reboot, that Toho does it, it's always a sequel to that first Godzilla movie.
Yeah. I don't know. If they did a legitimate reboot, like you said, it's never been done before from Toho. So that would be very interesting to see, because there's like three main timelines for Godzilla, or three series for Godzilla film. There's the original Showa series, the Heisei series, which was very big on continuity. It was the 90s. And then the Millennium series, which every film in that series was a direct sequel to the original. So you essentially had every other film was its own continuity. So if this is an all new film, that's going to be pretty unique for the Toho canon.
It is, and I just feel like part
Also,
of me
this
thinks
is
that. Yeah, go
this is
ahead.
the first film, or this is the first film in 10 years. Which when Toho stopped making Godzilla films, they even said that we're going to take a break for about 10 years and come back.
Yeah, yeah, and
So
the
they
last
always
one,
said that.
and
But
wasn't the last one when they killed Zilla? I'm pretty sure that was the last one they put out, right?
yeah, oh shit, what was
It
it?
was called Final Wars. They had Don Fry
Yeah,
in it.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I loved him.
Yeah, Don Fry's awesome in that movie. But yeah, he fights Zilla. They killed the American Godzilla, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes, in spectacular fashion. Like it took all of 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was just a total fuck you to the American films. But the question is, is Toho, is there any attempts to tie this movie into the American continuity? I'm assuming no. But we do know that there's going to be a Godzilla King Kong movie coming up I mean, 2020 is the rumor for a while here.
I
American
think that's the
produced.
release date on it.
2020. Yeah. Now I'm wondering, because the original Godzilla King Kong was kind of controversial because there's like two endings or whatever. I wonder if they're gonna have King Kong win. I kind of would be a little
There's not
pissed
two
off.
endings. The difference is that the Japanese version they put Godzilla roaring, I believe, and King Kong roaring, and for the American version they cut out the Godzilla roar.
I still count that as two endings, bro.
Okay, 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 okay. I tried to get geek specific, and you got more geek specific on me. So
It's
two.
all good. I just wonder what they're gonna do with that. You know what I mean? I hope they're not like, they don't have a big ego and they just let Godzilla win if he's gonna win. Because look, the dude, the Godzilla, whether it be the Japanese reboot or the American reboot, he's bigger than ever. I don't remember Godzilla ever being that big. Because King
Yeah,
Kong is gonna have to be given a big size increase as well. Because
yeah. Well, he had to be in the original '60s film also.
yes,
And people are like wondering, okay, what the hell is going to happen? Are we going to have like a 30-foot King Kong fighting a 200-foot Godzilla?
it's
Um,
not gonna make sense.
I know that a set photo from Skull Island was released that shows, I'm assuming, what is like a previous King Kong skeleton, and the skull takes up like an entire beach on the photo.
Yes, I've seen that. I've
So
seen that. I believe.
from
Yeah.
if like because obviously Skull Island's getting released and they're going to want to tie into this future film, so they want to have kind of the same continuity. So yeah, like King Kong would have to be increased in size.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. There's something about giant monsters destroying cities that's just so much fun to watch.
Do you think that they're gonna play King Kong up as being the good guy in this eventual like fight, or do you think it's gonna be a Batman v Superman issue where Godzilla and King Kong are gonna fight, and then eventually they're gonna put aside their differences and fight somebody else?
I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. I think what's gonna happen is that King Kong's gonna watch. King Kong was actually watching what Godzilla did in the first movie. That's the big secret. He was watching all this, and one of King Kong's like chimp buddies got his legs cut off. That's what I think is gonna happen in the movie. And then they're gonna fight, and then they're gonna find out that their mom's name is Mothra, and then they're gonna be buddies, and they're gonna
Why'd
fight
you
each other.
say that name?
Mothra, huh? Oh, dude, let's be friends. Yeah, save
Yeah.
her. Don't throw the spear away. We need that. Oh, I need it now. Oh, that's what's gonna happen. That's my prediction.
This won't be useful for the rest of the film.
Yeah, right. Oh, and I love it. Oh, no, why couldn't Wonder Woman carry it? No, 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 no. It's gotta be him.
Plot.
Whatever. You know what? Turn your brain off, and that's all I tell people. When you go see an action movie, just turn your brain off. So same thing with Godzilla. Turn your
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
off. It's
I don't
what's
think
most
anybody's
fun.
evaluating a Godzilla film like thematically, and
Yeah. Now, last question before we get out of here, bro. Which Godzilla do you think is more terrifying? Because to be perfectly blunt with you, I didn't think they were going to be able to top the legendary Godzilla, but I think that the Resurgence Godzilla looks a lot scarier.
oh yeah,
Mostly because of the red. I think they're purposely, because the thing about the Japanese, they love doing this kind of shit. They are purposely trying to top the American Godzilla. Like, you don't want to do this, we're going to do this. That's what I think is going to happen.
yeah, I agree, and I also think since I don't know, it's kind of weird, like because it's the original Japanese studio making it. I think if anybody wanted to take him back to his horror roots, because yeah, like the original film was a horror movie, and he
Yeah.
was supposed to be scary. I think the Japanese could do that because I think if an American audience, regardless of the way the film is portrayed, the American audience goes into it with a lot of baggage, knowing that this is an adaptation of a character who fights other monsters. Like even in the 2014 film, he fights other monsters. If he's portrayed as the sole antagonist in Godzilla Resurgence, I think it could be for a lot more dramatic effect.
Do you think that we're going to get this movie in theaters here? Because I don't believe we are, but I feel like now, I think that Legendary might do something about that, but I think that in the modern era, the Godzilla's Godzilla, bro. Put this fucker in theaters. Even if it's for a limited run, I'll go see it, Because when you
I
see
saw,
it on IMAX and how big he is.
yeah, I saw Godzilla 2000 in theaters. It played in American theaters at my local theater up here.
It was only for a couple of days, I think, right?
Yeah,
'Cause I
it
remember
wasn't very
that.
long at all, but the movie wasn't all that good. But I absolutely loved seeing a legitimate Godzilla film in theaters.
Yeah, and I've
So that
only
was the last one released in the U.S.
Yeah, I've never seen a Godzilla movie in theaters that wasn't a US made one ever. So I hope that they do it. I mean, I know that Legendary wants to hold a gridlock on it, but there you go.
I
Oh,
think yeah, I imagine since Toho and Legendary has this working relationship that they could make it work,
it
and especially if you could just do some throwaway lines to connect the films. Because with the 2014 film, you've already got the idea of monsters being alive. If you could even throw in the Monarch Corporation in the new film, that would that would just be a cool little wink and nod at the
Do you
audiences.
think it would be confusing though for casual fans who
See, no,
think that
I don't think if your casual audience went to see it, I think they would understand that hey, this is if fans can watch the Flash TV show and still go and see a Flash movie eventually, like I think they could get the idea. Okay, this is a Japanese Godzilla. This is the American Godzilla. I think
you overestimate how you forget how dumb
that
people
is
are,
true.
bro. There's
I
people who
forget
don't.
you're
There's
as
people.
geeky as I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's people who don't even know Dragon Ball even exists. They grew up on Kai, bro, and they don't even know there even is a Dragon Ball. And that's what I'm saying. That's weird to me, but they're out there. You know.
Well, shit, I know some people who legitimately went to go see the Amazing Spider-Man and were like, "What? Where's Mary Jane? What happened?
Oh,
Why is
not
Harry alive?" Like, oh God, no.
not just that. There's people who thought that Batman v Superman was actually. Oh no, yeah, Batman v Superman was actually going to be a sequel to Dark Knight Rises. I actually heard that.
Wow.
It's like, what the hell? Like, just click. No, my favorite one was Luke Skywalker's Kylo Ren. If you go to IMDb, it will show you that Adam Driver's Kylo
Oh, dude.
Ren.
Oh, yeah. That was the big rumor, and then the big rumor was that Deathstroke or Ben Affleck was playing Deathstroke, and that Christian Bale was secretly still Batman.
I I didn't even hear that.
Dude, I heard that and I was like, wait,
My
what?
God.
And
Uh,
that the Joker is Robin. I was like, wait, what?
that really doesn't make any sense. Well, hopefully, if they do that, they'll promote it properly. So we'll see. Well, thank you again for being here, Jesse. Check out Jesse over at the Next Dimension podcast. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, you'll want to listen to every episode start to finish and follow along watching the series over again if you are doing that. And leave your comments down below in the video. Let us know. Are you excited about the Godzilla Resurgence film? And really, I want to know which one you're looking forward to the most: Resurgence or the next Godzilla film done by Legendary, because I'm pretty sure that Resurgence is going to be one of multiple sequels coming. I think that Toho's going to do a lot more because this movie's probably going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't imagine they're going to leave the franchise stagnant for much longer.
Not anymore. There's the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, 2010 Godzilla is now here. The 2010s, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
And he looks awesome.
Yeah, he does. I'll catch you down the road.